Welcome to Travel Talk with the Global Voyages Travel Agency, where we discuss upcoming travel opportunities, travel news, and answer all your travel-related questions. My name is Csilla Dali, and I am the founder and lead travel advisor at Global Voyages. And I am thrilled to be here with you today to talk about one of our upcoming 2023 vacations. Before we get started, however, I want to introduce some special guests that I have with me here today. First and foremost, I have Marcus Leskovar, the Executive Vice President of Amadeus River Cruises, and the person responsible for making this episode happen. Hi, Marcus. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And then I have George Koss here, who is an Illinois Pickleball Ambassador, PPR certified instructor, and USAPA certified referee. I'm sorry, I had to read that. There's so many initials there. Thanks for joining us, George.
Thank you, Csilla. I'm looking so forward to this.
Thank you. For those of you that haven't heard about Global Voyages yet, we are a full-service travel agency in business for 12 years now, and we specialize in custom international travel. Basically, what we do is we love combining our clients' hobbies and interests into a beautifully crafted itinerary that combines the love of travel with their hobbies and their travel styles. And everybody gets to see the world in their own unique way like that. For almost 2 years now, our agency, as well as the industry, has had its ups and downs. And many of our travelers and us, we couldn't travel, and we thought, what should we do for next year? Something special, something more unique. And that's how we partnered up with Amadeus River Cruises to bring to you an interesting travel opportunity. And if you've wondered what a river cruise executive and a pickleball instructor have in common, we are here to tell you that we are doing a European pickleball cruise and pickleball tour and river cruise. George, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? You're going to be the tour leader for our.
I'm excited about this. I couldn't even imagine it when you brought the concept to me. I mean, so many players have not been able to travel because of COVID and everything, and we all love pickleball, and what a combination. Looking so forward to it. I got a lot of positive feedback. So we're looking forward to it.
Thank you. And so the trip is going to take place on a river cruise. Basically, our travel dates are the 18th through the 27th of May, 2023. And in a nutshell, what our travelers are going to be experiencing will be a 2-day amazing pickleball pre-tour in Hungary, starting in Budapest, followed by a 7-night river cruise up the Danube. And the river cruise is going to be on Amadeus River Cruises. And Marcus would love to know more about your cruise line.
Yeah, so we are all excited about this opportunity. So we've been around for 40 years. We've been one of the longest-standing river cruise lines in the market. But what we have seen in the last just few years, and especially through COVID, we've seen there is a significant shift in clientele. Initially, it was more for the baby boomer, people that just were more classical cruisers that weren't too active, and so just in the last few years, we have seen quite a shift there for people that are seeking soft adventure. They want to be more active. They want to go and explore. And there is also a longing for a people-to-people element where you can meet people, local people that maybe have common interest, a common denominator. And so there was a very important a thing for us to capture and to come up with new ideas to further this this special relationship or these special excursions and opportunities, and so we came up with the idea of pickleball. And so we're combining the pickleball element with one of our classic cruises on the Danube, which goes from Budapest to Passau. And it's one of our legacy itineraries. As you can hear by my accent, I'm actually from there. I'm from Austria, so that's my own home country. So I'm very excited about this specific tour because I think it combines so much. It combines the charm of a river cruise, pickleball, and some just fascinating countries and destinations that you'll be able to see.
Yeah. Well, I first heard about pickleball on one of your cruises, Marcus, and ever since then I was kind of crazy about it. I wanted to learn it, and that's how I met you.
Yeah.
Sign up through the Park District and
right.
happened to be lucky enough to have you as my instructor.
That was nice.
Why do you think pickleball is so popular in the U.S.?
You know, it's grown crazy over the last, I would say, 8 years, and I think it's a great social, bringing people together. Not only younger players are playing now, we're seeing mixing with the older people. It's a very inexpensive sport to play. You buy a paddle and you're set to go. The nice thing about pickleball is you don't have to have, you can go there to a park and play by yourself. You don't need partners. You can play an hour and leave and come back. So you play all over, all different states. There's apps to play in, New York.
How long have you been playing?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
And how did you become an instructor? What led you to
I started playing down in Naples, Florida, because I was a tennis player. And then one day I walked out on the court, and I'm like, what's all these extra lines on my tennis court? And they said, oh, that's pickleball. And I'm like, well, get them off of there. And then they said, no, it's the fastest growing sport. And I said, well, I better embrace this. So I was very fortunate. One of the pros, Simone Jardine, was the instructor there, and she took me and my wife, Gloria, under her wing, and we had lessons, and we got addicted. And I got so involved in it that I wanted to bring it back to Chicago and areas to play pickleball, and nobody heard of it. So I said, well, I got to be an ambassador. I got to get on this bandwagon. And things just snowballed. I became a referee. I became an instructor. I went through the certification with the pros and teaching players to play healthy and safe.
Very nice, very nice. And Marcus, I don't think I've ever seen any other cruise lines do pickleball river cruises. And I remember when I was on your ship, you had all the setup on deck, and we were able to try it out. It's something unique to Amadeus river cruises at this point, isn't it?
That is unique. So I first heard of pickleball, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and I have never heard of it. And a mutual friend actually brought it to my attention. I'm like, that's interesting. And it's like, well, you should be able to play that on board because it's just like you said with tennis, but it's like on a more compact field, and would that fit? I'm like, I don't know. What are the exact dimensions? And then he gave me the dimensions, and I looked at one of our deck plans. I was like, well, theoretically it should fit on there. And then we bought a pickleball a set, and it came with a net, and then we got some tape you can buy too in order to make your own court. And we traveled to Amsterdam to one of our ships there, and then I can proudly say that I probably installed the first pickleball course on
which I know is a
river
challenge.
cruise ship, and so that was a lot of fun. I actually have some pictures of it, and so we actually did this. And then one of the challenges that I've gotten from this mutual friend was like, he said, but the ball has to bounce. There's like a minimum height that ball has to bounce. So if you have whatever your surface is on board, if the ball doesn't make that minimum bounce, then it's all no good. So we did the test. So we were able to go through the bounce test. So that worked. And then we played, and it was it was my first time I played pickleball, and was on board that ship, but it worked, and so we're like, well, this is a great idea, this is fun, and what can we do with this? And I guess so that's how the whole idea of the pickleball cruise kind of developed, and we want to, of course, take it off the vessel so more people can play meaningful, because you've got some wind on there, but it's perfectly fine for a clinic and just to hone your skills a little bit and to have fun.
Well, as a matter of fact, our upcoming tour, if you want to see details of it, you can go to www.myglobalvoyages.com, and click on our pickleball tour for 2023 to have an overview of basically what we have in store for you. But to give them just a sneak peek, we prepared a short video. And guys, if you just want to watch it, that's going to give you a feel of how a river cruise is and what you can expect. So a sneak peek and just a few details so that we don't give you everything during this show. But the very special thing is that the local host is going to be the Hungarian ambassador, Zoltán Bö, waiting for the group in Hungary. And the doubles champion, I think his name is Balázs Komocsin, is also escorting our group, and we're going to have a chance to go to his beautiful estate at Lake Balaton region. So it's just going to be one of those pre-tours that has a mix of everything. And our guests are going to be able to play pickleball en route during these 2 days, and then they can also play at the estate of Balázs. And then once the river cruise starts, we have 2 different plays organized already, one in Budapest and one in Vienna. And then George is going to be escorting the entire group and setting up a pickleball clinic on deck and having a few surprises for us.
Yeah, we got some games planned.
Do you wanna give a few details about that, or you wanna keep it as a surprise?
Well, I think one of the nicest things that we found is the king and queen of the courts, and obviously on a cruise ship, we know there's going to be some limitations, but we're going to make it fun. We're going to make it exciting and very competitive. Pickleball players are very competitive, so we're gonna make it very fun for them.
And do you think so? In general, do most partners are they both playing pickleball? Like, do you see husband and wife teams a lot, or Because I have a feeling that we're going to have a few guests that are not playing pickleball, right?
Right, and some players that are planning on coming, they might say, well, their wife doesn't play or husband doesn't play, but that's okay because they're very supportive of the players, and they know we're all very enthusiastic about playing pickleball. So they have a pretty good cheering section.
Oh, good. And
Yeah.
actually, while we are on the cruise, Marcus, maybe you want to give a few details about that. But basically, every day on a river cruise is an adventure in a new destination. So if some of the traveling partners are not playing, there's plenty for them to do on their own as well, if they don't want to be the cheering squad.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. River cruises, for the ones of you listening, if you haven't been on a river cruise, but it's a perfect vacation, really. River cruise ship is like a floating hotel. You check in and you check out only once, and during your time on the river ship, which is about 7 nights, 8 days, you get to experience a different destination every day, and it's great. So you leave, you get to a new destination the next day, because the rivers are mostly going right through the centers of the city and the towns and the villages we are going to go to. It's easy to get off the ship fairly fast and be right in the center and see something.
That.
Yeah, and so we have shore excursions that you can take if you want to. It's also great for to do your own explorations and to have a soft adventure by yourself. Go into one of the cities, go to a museum, have lunch, have dinner, go sightseeing by yourself. For example,
Mostly
if
we're
you'd like
sailing
to.
by night, right? And then most of the days are in port.
Usually we sail by night. During the day we are in port. Again, there's a program of shore excursions. If you'd like to experience one of those, or if you'd like to go do your own thing, we have bicycles on board as well. So if you can take a bicycle off the ship, and then there's a great bike trail. It's the Donau Radwanderweg, which goes along the Danube. So a lot of people enjoy that. So there's a lot of activity that you can do, and a lot of things you see. So we start in Budapest in this specific program. So you get to see some of Hungary, you get to see some of Slovakia, Austria, and then a little bit of Germany. So
in what other type of travel can you see 4 countries in 7 days?
and you don't have to check in, check out. Again, you check into the ship
Absolutely.
once, and then you sail right through there.
And I remember when I was on it, and this is one of the questions that people were asking. They were comparing it to ocean cruising, and I only been on one ocean cruise, and I just kind of felt a little bit out of place, intimidated by a lot of people there, and I thought that the intimate atmosphere of the river cruise is just so special, and
Yeah.
especially for a group like this. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna have probably about 28 people, so that's almost 1/3 of the cruise ship, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you have
But-
less than 200 people on
Yeah.
board usually.
But it's a good point. Comparing it with a cruise ship. So we are a lot smaller. So a river cruise ship is about 443 feet long. We can accommodate between 160 and 168 passengers. So there's a lot less passenger. The whole ship is smaller too. It's generous space for the amount of people that are on there. But overall,
And the crew guest ratio is much
so
more,
we have
right?
about almost 50, so 46 to 48 crew for that amount of passengers. But again, if you
Very good.
compare it with an ocean cruise line, we don't have that many sailors because it's not an ocean-going vessel. So all the staff, or all the staff, is service staff that you actually see. That is pampering you and taking care of you. So that's also an important factor. But you'll get to meet everyone. You get to see everyone. It's easy to navigate on there. Again, the big other difference, if you know ocean cruises, if you've been on an ocean cruise, you have immediate access to where you dock. So there's no long transfer. There's no long big ports,
Yeah.
long transfers to go to where you actually wanted to go. So essentially you just leave the river ship and you're right there, at your destination. So those are the nice
In the heart of
just
the city.
in the heart of
Yeah.
the city
That's
town,
nice.
so it's just great. It's nice.
Have you been on a river
I've
cruise
never
before?
been on a river cruise, but I understand what you're talking about, those ocean cruises. It takes me like a day and a half or 2 days to just navigate to get to my room and wander around to get comfortable. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, George, we were talking about you having pickleball clinics set up and maybe some workshops or things like that.
Yeah.
I looked you up, and I hear that you're taking beginner players to pros in record time.
Yeah,
what's your secret?
I think that's one of my nicest accomplishments as an instructor, because I've taken players that took Pickleball 101 and said that they wanted to just play exercise, and all of a sudden now, within a year and a half, they're playing in their first tournaments, and they're winning, and they're really enjoying the game, and they're telling their friends about it. That some of them never even held a paddle or a racket, or it's incredible. I mean, we had a deaf pickleball tournament, and it was incredible that these players come out there and just play. It's just fascinating, to watch.
And if people would ask you to give one piece of advice to pickleball players, what would that be?
Patience. Patience is the virtue of pickleball. It's a shorter court, so you have to be in control. And coming like for me, the tennis, I had too much power, and I had to learn to soften my hitting ability, and court position is a big key. So I would say patience and court ability is two of the biggest things.
And we welcome players of any level, basically, on River Cruise, right?
Yeah. We all know where we started from. When I started, I couldn't serve the ball in the box to save my life, and other players that never played picked it up right away. It's just the uniqueness of the game, but practice makes perfect.
Yeah. So I think we should discuss a little bit the process of how people can sign up, what they can expect. So basically, if you're ready to take this cruise with us, you go to www.myglobalvoyages.com and you sign up, fill out the online registration form. There's a $500 deposit due right away, and then that confirms your river cruise. You're going to have to give us about 24 to 48 hours, right, Marcus? How long does it take to get us all set up and confirmed? During business days, a 24-hour turnaround time should be fine.
24 hours, I would say.
And then once you get the confirmation, you can reach out to us. Actually, we will be reaching out to you to help you set up anything else you need, such as airfare, travel insurance. I think, George, you even mentioned that you would love to extend your trip.
A lot of the players I've talked to, they were wondering, they says, is there somebody they could talk to about, they might want to come a day or 2 days ahead of time or after the cruise, as well as I would, because take advantage of seeing these countries.
Yeah. If you have the time, definitely extend it.
Right,
Come 1 or 2
right,
days earlier,
right.
Especially if you're paying pickleball, because Budapest is just one of the most gorgeous cities in Europe.
I've heard, yeah.
And our pickleball play in Budapest is actually scheduled around the same time when the tour would take place. So if you're not coming a few days early, you might miss out on one of the best sightseeing. So our travel advisors at Global Voyages can basically help you set everything up. So
That's great.
The first step will be for us to just confirm your spot, and then afterwards we will reach out and take care of anything else you might need.
There we go.
And if we happen to sell out pretty fast, and we have a lot more people that want to join one of these tours, I know, Marcus, you've been kind of diligently working on coming up with different dates and different routes. So I was just going to ask, how do you feel Amadeus' River Cruise relationship is going to evolve with the pickleball community moving forward?
Well, I think we're going to open up different routes for pickleball. So this is the first foray into a more formal itinerary with pickleball, and it took a little bit. We had to make connections with local pickleball clubs. There's you mentioned it before. It's a exploding, really new thing, especially now in Europe, sport, that people just really subscribe to in big numbers, and so we see, and we didn't know this, so there's in all of these countries there's now pickleball clubs and federations that just come up and just organize, and which is great. So we are trying to get in contact with, the president of each of these national clubs and try to really, in a meaningful way, make connections and plan a pickleball visit, like we do here. So this was the first try. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great, and we're going to take this onto other routes. There's the Rhine. So here's the Danube, which is one of our key itineraries. There's the Rhine. There's the Seine. There's the Provence. We can go farther south on the Danube. So there's still a lot to discover. So if you like this pickleball cruise, I'm sure we have a lot of more product that you will enjoy as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
And George, I mean, you were saying what a tight community the pickleball community is, and then
God.
Meeting everybody from Europe and having all those connections.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of times you play with players at the park and you don't know their background, where they're coming from. So when they heard it was in Europe, they're like, oh my God, this is, they could. I mean, we've developed lifelong friends through pickleball. And I'm sure that's going to be the relationship with Europe. I mean, we're just trying to grow it, and hopefully one day we're going to see it in the Olympics.
Well, this is the start of our little pickleball travel club.
Yeah.
Let's see how that works out.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I think more or less we covered everything that we have in store for you, and we look forward for people to sign up and join us on this tour.
That's right.
And anything else you'd like to say before we close this segment?
No, I think you covered everything. We're looking excited for it.
Well, thank you so much. And Marcus, thank you again for sponsoring this episode and for being with us today. And George for agreeing to be our amazing host on the River Cruise Line.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I want to close with a travel quote because I love traveling and I love quotes and I always feel like it's so inspirational. So for today, I chose one saying, traveling, it leaves you speechless and then turns you into a storyteller. And I hope it does that for all of you.
Very nice.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Again, this was Travel Talk with Global Voyages, and I hope to see you all on our tour. Bye.
Bye.